10:50.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, dear participants and my friends. Good morning to you, one and all. It's indeed a great pleasure to start our day 2 session on behalf of PG and Research Department of English, Saurashtra College. I welcome you all for the 2-day international webinar on New Horizons in Lingo-Literary Studies in English. In the day 1 session, forenoon, we had Dr. Swati Shkala with us. She augmented our knowledge with many apps and websites to use in our classroom. In the afternoon session, we had Professor Rosalind with us. She motivated us to use HOTS in our daily syllabus and enlighten our students. And today, we are here to listen to yet another lecture from a literary giant legend, Dr. Nagaraj from Bharathiar University. For a formal introduction, I like to invite Mrs. T.N.K. Kavita ma'am. Ma'am, the dais is yours, ma'am.
Kavita ma'am, can you turn the video?
I'm here. A very warm, pleasant, and wonderful morning to everyone assembled on this online platform. It gives me great happiness to meet academicians, faculty members, and my dear friends on this online platform. I deem it my proud privilege and honor to introduce today's resource person and speaker of this 2-day international webinar on New Horizons in Lingo-Literary Studies of English. He is Dr. P. Nagaraj, Associate Professor and Head, Department of English and Foreign Languages, Bharathiar University, Coimbatore. The leaders whom people respect and will follow have the characteristics of being themselves, of being passionate about what they are doing, of communicating that in a very heartfelt way that moves and impresses others. Dr. P. Nagaraj is such a person who is optimistic, hopeful, and unparalleled erudite scholar and a versatile person who is well known for his professional excellence. He is a very dedicated teacher who has molded scores of students. Dr. P. Nagaraj completed his PhD in Bharathiar University in 2006. His areas of research are English literature and English language teaching. He has presented innumerable papers both at national level and international level. As an outstanding he has national journals and nearly 50 papers in international journals. His significant publications are on English language learning problems by fisherman community, cultural perspectives and problems in English language learning of Nagaraj. Am I audible, ma'am? Vaneshwari?
Ma'am, we couldn't hear, ma'am.
Ma'am, we couldn't hear your audio, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am's connection has got cut, I believe.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay,
I'm able
right?
to.
Yeah.
Bona, are you able to hear me?
Now I am able to hear you, ma'am.
I'll continue. Issues and panacea of English language teaching and learning in the semi-urban context of Tamil Nadu, the effect of outdoor teaching on language acquisition in children with autism, and color perspectives in fishermen community. He holds a prestigious and challenging post and has been contributing enormously in the field of education. He has completed many projects, and a project worth about 5 lakh is ongoing now. He has produced 30 doctorates and has guided 32 MPhil scholars. His passion for learning is both inspiration and motivation for his teaching. He has delivered many lectures in various colleges and universities. I had the great opportunity to listen to his talk in our 7-day faculty development program. He set fire to our thoughts and our perspectives went on a tremendous change. We are indeed very fortunate to have such an eminent scholar to address us. Today, he is going to talk on the topic, languaging in pandemic. I extend my hearty welcome to Dr. P. Nagaraj. Thank you all for giving me the opportunity to introduce the speaker of the morning session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Dear participants, I request you to post your question in the chat box. And after Nagaraj sir's session, our moderator, Dr. K. Kavita, will read the questions to our resource person. Thank you. Nagaraj sir, the dais is yours, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
The organizing members of this international webinar from the Saurashtra College and the members from the Department of English and Foreign Languages, Dr. Rashita Varghese, she is gonna deliver one more session by this afternoon. And at this juncture, my fellow faculty members, dear participants, now I wish to acknowledge here one important personality who was behind this big mega show. In the sense, when Professor Muthukrishnan sir, my good friend, a part of my family, his association, my association with them is not just academic, but it goes beyond the academic as well, where he takes up the role of guiding me, helping me in all the academic and the administrative pursuits. I'm really indebted to Professor Muthukrishnan sir, when he had approached me for a webinar of this nature, and he said, I wish that you could address during in the particular local, which he wished to. So, and by all the sessions I had with him, I love to listen to him. Yesterday also in his keynote address, I love the way by which he still carries the energy. I think no academicians, hardly few academicians would carry this type of an energy when they wanted to explore their ideology to the mass of learners and teachers community. And I still go back to my days with him, my association with him. Whenever he does a lecture, now I make it sure a point that I never miss his lectures, and I sit down whenever he presents, and I take a note of his presentations. Such an eminent personality with a vast resource, and beyond all this, a serious academician who had contributed so much by his knowledge, not only to the Bharathiar University, but also but extending beyond the Bharathiar University arena. His contribution is something very, very tremendous. And today morning also, I was literally to a bit, little shocked. Like, when he called me that no, and he said no, he'll be waiting for my lecture, and he'll be keenly looking into what I'm gonna speak on. And here also, and I wish to acknowledge that his daughter and my daughter is there, and the double responsibility, like when my two daughters here are here, witnessing what I'm gonna speak on the coming hours. It proves challenge, like when I'm being beside a huge scholars who had been proving and who has been proving in such kind of a forum. So it becomes a challenge, irrespective of the fact that they are scholars or fellow colleagues or whatever. Like in their presence, it makes a teacher so much so challenging that every time when we witness such kind of personalities around us, it shoulders double responsibility in me, and every atmosphere of this nature, I take it as a challenge, and I come out with whatever the little knowledge or the little resources, what I learned from my reading, my experience with such kind of an eminent personalities like Professor Muthukrishnan sir, and here I am, if not Professor Muthukrishnan sir, and and his contribution and his ideology regarding making a humanistic an experience, a humane experience. So I'm here today. It is purely for the fact that he wanted me to explore some of the simple ideologies, which I wanted to carry on with respect to the topic, which I had given. Even coming to the topic, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to bring to a notice that when I had earlier given the topic, I had given the topic of pandemic as one aspect of study, and virality as another aspect of study. And I had just connected by hand, but I could see that when it's been printed, I know for sure it is the work of Professor Muthukrishnan sir, like pandemic in languaging in pandemic. So with the introduction of preposition, I know as a linguist, he had again put me into a challenge, where I have to navigate between the nuances on these two parallels, the language and the pandemic. When I say language, it is not language anymore in the current context. It is a languaging and pandemic. So I owe a lot to Professor Muthukrishnan sir. I hope that my fellow colleague Dr. Vinod Kumar, he is also present here, and all the participants, who are here to witness to my narratives. I do hope that I'm not gonna disappoint you with a little of the knowledge I do have. So I thank the organizing members of the Saurashtra College for having me as a resource person on this wonderful team. And I thank you each and everyone, and I thank wholeheartedly Professor Muthukrishnan sir for taking such a wonderful initiative of bringing all the fellow faculties under one particular context of the virality of the context. So thank you each and everyone. Now let me go into the topic of my narrative, the ideology of my narrative. The objective of my narrative holds very simple portfolio. It represents, so it comes up with the three major framework of thought, a threefold analysis, a threefold understanding of what I literally wanted to throw open to you all guys in the name of languaging and pandemic. So what do I mean by languaging, and what do I mean by pandemic? I'm gonna specify in detail in my narration and in my thought process, which I'm gonna delineate on the coming hours. So the objective of my presentation, I'm narrowing it down into threefold analysis. The one is the virality of the context. One is the virality of the context, and I refer to pandemic. The virality of the language, it is not language, it is again languaging, again a pandemic. And how these two, the virality of the language, the virality of the context, and how these two has having a major influence on the humanity, the human behavior at large, and how these three at one particular point of time, I would say, it is coming to terms. These three are getting itself integrated and coming to terms, and makes social life possible in a different way, which is the experience of the experience we are all experiencing today. So this interconnectedness, this coming together of the context, coming together the language and so-called languaging, and its reflection on the human behavior is the thought process which I'm highlighting on. And here is where I wish to trace when I talk about the languaging. I'll be more so focusing on the perception of the language, its growth, its development, and how it has originated, and how it has been challenged, and irrespective of the challenges and the very many varied forms it has taken by way of objectifying and by way of subjectifying the elements that revolves around the experience of the language in itself. Now I would narrow it down to the context of the virality, where the context of pandemic, the context of epidemic. What is the challenge with this language? What is the challenge with this language? No, my observation goes like this. My observation goes like this when I say, my association with this language for nearly 25 years. And this is the first time, I'm experiencing something, a new man experience. When I say a new man experience, I had never ever had such kind of an experience with this language, where it poses a challenge. It throws a challenge on very many perspectives. When I say why it is throwing a challenge on what basis it is throwing challenge, I would like to bring into terms by two colonized vocabularies. One is the characteristic quality of not knowing, and the characteristic quality of unknowing. Not knowing and unknowing is the characteristic quality this English language at present it has imbibed, and it has qualified itself, so that it is proving so much of a threat to the larger humanity of the human existence. So the quality of not knowing and the quality of unknowing is the virality of the context, which no human evolution had experienced a context of pandemic nature, like the earlier experience in down the ages of the human evolution. So I would say this experience is something distinct. This experience of languaging is something unique. And this experience of something unique again puts into a challenge of something the perspectives that we had ever dreamt of, and it comes out with the weirdest of the weirdest possibilities of the characteristic quality of the language, that it poses a threat. To some extent it poses a threat, in spite of the fact that we all had a larger claim that this language had brought in so many generations of learners by so many resourceful way. So my observation goes like this, the characteristic quality of something the unknown and the not knowing is something very very fishy about, which we all have to think about it and delineate on it as a language faculty members and learning whoever encounters with this language or whoever getting himself or herself associated with this language. I think this would have been, or this might be, or this is the experience. I would say, like a larger community of learners of language and language instructors will be experiencing and encountering on. So for the first time, I am as a language faculty and I am as a learner, a learning faculty of English language, and my association with this English language for the first time, I am something, experiencing a new climate. I am experiencing something, a new weather. I am experiencing something, which, had not been the experience earlier. Such is the experience, I carry something and I call myself a new experience to this new virus, the virus that is so much so challenging, the virus that is so much so a pandemic in nature. So of all these qualities, I come out with a mantra. I come out with a statement. I come out with a mantra. I come out with a statement. The statement might be true to the many of the fraternity of members who are dealing and handling with this language. The mantra, the statement is that for the first time, now I say it to you. I feel and say it to you that you language, you English language, I do not like you. For the first time, the new experience. No, I come out with a statement. The statement is that a new experience of the new experience that you language, you're giving us, guiding us, and makes us experiencing us. No, I come out with the statement that this is the first time I tell to you, I throw open to you, and I state to you, you English language, I do not like you for the first time, and purely for the fact, why I say I do not like, for the fact that it is languaging. When I say languaging, I bring in all the characteristic qualities. I bring in all the characteristic qualities of the pandemic experience. The whole of the humanity right now are experiencing, and I know for sure this is the experience of all the learner faculty members today. How this languaging, how this pandemic, how this epidemic had thrown open the whole of the humanity race into a shell, into a corner space where we are challenging each and every individual. Like we are challenging every individual on where to go about from here, and that is where, and that is the experience that we are all experiencing right now. And I might be hard. I don't when I complete my narratives, I would come out with an observation, something might be distinct by the way what I'm claiming at the initial phase might be my perception. As I'm narrating, I would think, my perception to some extent, would vary. I don't know, because when I'm working on this particular topic, hello, see my picture is not visible. My video file is not visible. Am I?
Yes, sir, you are visible,
Yes,
sir.
sir. You are visible now, sir.
Yeah. The thing is, you see, when it comes to me, I'm a person who is little sensitive about it. Such say to that, little intervention would, will
Yes, sir.
have a break. Yeah, we'll have a break in my thought, where I wanted to. Like, this is how any faculty members of language and literature will be the experience. So nothing hard about it. This is what. So for the first time, I say I might be hard in my statement, and the faculty members, the fellow fraternity members might be having a question, a huge question. Why this gentleman is coming out with this particular kind of a thought process, where this language, is the life-giving force, is the life for all, who are into this particular profession. But then, as I said, like, my perception to some extent would vary. I do not know how my thought process, from here on, it is going to take off. So, with this small introduction to languaging and the pandemic, I say, I don't like your language purely for the fact that, no, you had already associated yourself with the pandemic. You had already associated with the virus. And you love and wish to live with the virus. So when you possess the quality, the characteristic quality of the virality of the nature, and for sure that, we as a member, we as a human, a part of the humanity, would not, would be to some extent, panicking about the way by which, you are generating principles, by the way by which, you are generating your ideologies. So I have my own limitations, whether I wanted to appreciate you, or I don't want to appreciate you. So I always, my perception will always be like, a thought process where if I feel that, my conscience says, you go ahead with, and you promote saying that, no, it is good, I'll go about with. If my conscience says, directly that, no, this is what the application that, you want to make it out, so I dare go with the application of, what my conscience says. I never ever hardly like, work with the perspective that will go with the mind. But then on many a stands, and I always call on you all guys, on many a stand, this might be the experience of all the people, personalities, who are dealing with language, linguistics, or literature. Okay, so right is right and wrong is wrong, the perception. And today, my perception is this. And after 1 month, after 1 hour, my slowly, as some into narrative, my perception would come to some extent would change. So language, you are languaging, which the whole of the humanity do not want, do not wish. And we don't deny the fact. We don't deny the fact that, no, you happen to be a life force, giving life to many, and you are resourceful, no doubt about it. You are resourceful, no doubt about it. You carry intelligentsia, no doubt about it, no doubt about it. But then there are observations to be made it very clear, particularly when the context is very, very hard, when the context is very, very challenging, and you wanted to put aside, you want to throw the humanity to a corner cell, and that is where an individual like me would always have a dark question yourself, the authenticity by which you carry yourself. So the first time, and I wanted you all to carry this mantra, the mantra of you should not like this language, because it is so much so languaging, and its association with the corona, its association with the virus is something, it is carrying itself a personality that all the qualities of the virality, you have taken into account, and you're boosting yourself that you are something unique, and you are contributing large to the human society, in a greater extensive possible. Next slide, gentlemen. Next slide, please. Thank you. Language. And I could not read the text, refer to the books, language culture and language culture in dialogue, how language culture and its association with the when it comes to the matter of dialogue. So the hardcore ideology over here is language is society, and society is language. And what is the application, the basic fundamental application of language? Why a language of such nature has to exist today? The simple fundamental ideology, the basic principles that lies with this phenomenological understanding is that we all live in a society. where we need a medium by which we have to communicate. So the very basic is that we live in a society, and the relevance, the need, and the importance of how you formulate your ideologies into a form of a language, so that you claim that you exist, you persist in society. And I would like to recollect on what are all the instances, what are all the parallels wherein this particular language, I don't think not only this English language, any language for the matter, like it had gained its momentum. When it is that it had gained its momentum is that when there is a calamity, a total chaos of context, does prevail in a societal context. Maybe it can be, or it may be a warlike context, or it can be a natural calamity of a context which we are experiencing right now, a virality of nature, the virus context. So whatever the context, that is catastrophic, that is proving challenge to the humanity. What this language does, this language always takes up the opportunity and use the opportunity of the calamity, and sees to that it gains momentum. And that is where I come out with a statement like again I'm associating with the ideology of a greater thought, that great sociological changes. This is a revolutionary period, and a great thought process, and there is a great societal changes, and whatever the great societal changes, and whenever there happens to be societal changes, and we could see its association, we could see how this the societal changes is being used by the language, any language for the matter. And when it comes to the matter of English language, it takes its the hardest of the hardest possibilities, and it sees to that it reaches the context and gains momentum. So, and these two, like you cannot separate when you talk about language, the society and the language. And here and where I would like to cite from the worst calamities that has been referred in the history of English language teaching and learning, the context of 2 world wars. And we cannot keep away aside the Hitler's contributions, the German contributions to English language. And if you trace and you put as a language faculty, you might be aware of the hardest of the hardest realities, that you want to teach literature, and you wanted to give the experience of language as a language. The possibility is that you cannot keep away those devastating calamities. You cannot keep away 2 world wars, or you cannot keep away the virality of context right now, what we are experiencing today. So a context of this nature, how you language carry yourself a momentum, and you grow double utilize this context. And there were contextual clues whenever we wanted to deal with language, whenever we want to deal with literature. Our association with the 2 world wars is highly negligible. We know for sure that you cannot keep away the hardest of the hardest realities, that the 2 world wars, how far these 2 world wars had literally contributed directly or indirectly or historically. You want to make a study of an experience of literature, and you wanted to give a beautiful narration of a literature, a literary perspective into the contemporary society, then I think you have to go back, read about the background, the resources by which this beautiful art, this beautiful literature had come into existence. If not the war. And I know for sure, like if you are tracing and in your experience, you cannot keep away the devastating calamities which had proved lives of, which had proved challenge to the lives of the millions of people. And the same is the experience, but then I don't know about today's context, because of the postmodern thought. the postmodern thinkers, we always hide the truth about the data of, who are all have been washed away, who all have been filtered away from the reality without knowing, that they are into. And we do not know how the data, it's going to expound from here on and as well. So one is the calamity of warlike context, how it has beautifully given so many beautiful literatures for us to experience. And we are all today experiencing a beautiful experience purely for the fact that if there had not been two world wars. And that happens to be the backbone, that happens to play the major role of structure to formulate any beautiful literature, or you want to experience language as language. But this is what being taught. And whenever we as a faculty, when we wanted to address on realities, we go to the history, know about the narratives, and correlate those experiences into the text of whatever you are venturing into. And that is the reality being posed on till now. But then I would come out with another thought process when I talk about this languaging as such is the hardest of the hardest reality. When I say languaging, I would like to bring in a thought process of the characteristic quality of you possess the characteristic quality of a colonizing context. And you had you keep on proving that the nature of the slave dynasty, from take for example from Indian independence and we all claim that we have been colonized, decolonized, but the colonized context is again the reality, and we carry the same framework of colonized context in every walk of life we do carry on. And here is where I would like to give one observation. There are many observations of the colonized context experience that this English language, by way of languaging, it is giving to the entire humanity, who are into this language study. But then, have we ever thought, friends, have we ever thought that wherever this language had colonized, it has had a major infection. It has had a major infection, and by the infection, down the ages, we were carrying so much of a culture, we were carrying so much of a history and so much of a tradition. So all these, by this virus, by this languaging, when it comes infected by the terminology, by the term of being colonized, it enslaves. It enslaves, and okay, fine, it is enslaving by a colonized context. Okay, but then right now it goes beyond enslaving, and it sees to that it destroys. It destroys. And if you think wise, and if you take it into consideration, like right now, so many of the beautiful languages that have been into our society, like which was carrying so much of a rich culture, which was carrying so much of a tradition, a huge voluminous of resource by way of language, it was carrying all the fact that this particular language intervention, stepping into context of and being colonized, and right now it goes beyond colonizing and proving a threat. And we know how many languages today had gone into extinct, and it's no more. It has become many of the languages had faded away like anything, had become a dead language purely for the fact that of this particular language intervention. Okay, narrating the beauty, narrating the experience of the literature, had taught us, had given us. Fine, you keep aside all the beauties that this literature had given us, all the worldly experience that this language, by way of coming out with beautiful work of art, it has given us. Okay, fine, you keep it aside. Fine, but then as a language faculty, we have to see in for the other perspectives, that the other perspectives not being dealt very seriously. We always been taken away by a stance of a surface level understanding and the experience of narration so far being taught to us, and we carry the same process till now. But then time has come, friends, that we have to think about on these possibilities as well, where we are not colonized, we cannot accept slave dynasty, and we cannot welcome a single language in the name of languaging, using the virality of the context. And you wanted to gain momentum not by enslaving, but you had taken the role of destruction. You had become the demon, and you wanted to destroy the human intelligence, who had been carrying so much of a culture, so much of a tradition for so many ages. So by you can mask yourself. You can mask yourself saying that you had promoted, you had integrated multilingualism, you had promoted the multiculturalism. So you can come out with very varied claims of that you had made the society knowledgeable, you had made the society resourceful. Okay, fine. That claim's all there. You have the claim. You keep it with you, all these claims. But what is the narration today? What is the narrative today? Come into the reality. Come into what is happening today. You are not just enslaving. You don't just want to colonize, but you have taken the other approach, a challenging role of you are very ambitious in killing the richest tradition, the richest culture that had been into practice so many years. And here is where, friends, here is where my fellow faculty members, I to some extent, you take, had taken a perspective like, why this languaging and what is its role and what is this languaging, it does to the humanity. By just joining hands with the corona, and makes the whole of the context epidemic and pandemic, and the horrible thing, the horrible experiences that we cannot take it off. If it has been just enslaved, but you wanted to destroy humanity, you want to kill the culture, the tradition, humanity at large. Humanity at large. It is the whole of the existence. You want to do. You want to play a havoc. No. So for these reasons, I tell you, friends, I come out with the proclamation. I come out with a simple statement, and the simple statement is the biggest statement that you have to carry. And for the first time, as a new man experience, I am experiencing something new, a new man experience, and I wish and I wanted you all have to experience this new man experience. When you claim that you are directly associated with this language, you have to have a balanced perspective. You have to take a balanced stance when you say that you are addressing, you are into this language, and when you say you are into experiencing this language, then you have to take an intelligent stand. And when I talk about the intelligent stance, and this is the first time in the history, I would say that you have to carry a special intelligence. So you have to carry an intelligence, that has not been dreamt about. Even you have not been thought about that way. An intelligence that is so much unique that you have to carry, and only when you carry such kind of a new man experience and thought process, then you can state, and you can come with my statement of argument, my statement of proclamation, that for the first time, I feel my association with you, I feel, and I say, it's my emotion thing. I feel and I say that 25 years, my reading, my culture, my association with you, I come with a beautiful saying, you are languaging, and I do not like you because of the fact that you are associating with the virus. You had already correlated with this virus, and you wanted to claim. Okay, fine. You can claim your existence. We know for sure that you are there. You have come live. You are there. You cannot. We cannot do anything with this languaging. That is the very that is the multiple perspectives that you take today. No compromise. No compromise at all. No, we accept. We accept. We accept the reality. We accept the hardest of the hardest reality that you are there, you are living, and you are claiming your right that you wanted to live, but don't ever bother the humanity. And that is the claim. Don't ever bother the humanity. And for the first time, I feel, I experience, and I say that language, the English language, you are not language, you are languaging. And for the first time, I say, I do not like you because if you have a life, if you have a life language, you're claiming life right now. You're claiming life right now. And if you have a life, think it of yourself, for sure that you are not, you are untrue to yourself. When you are not true to yourself, when you are untrue to yourself, when you are not your own self, like, as how Professor Muthukrishnan sir said yesterday, you carry so many colors, you carry so many intelligentsia, you carry very thought process. You are one at one particular point of time, and you are next the other. You are varying yourself in climate. You are varying yourself according to the individual who handles. So many the versatility of the characteristic quality that you carry right now, and you are proving challenge to the humanity. And that is where I could not take it up when I say, like, that for the first time, I say, I feel, and I say, you language, you are not yourself. When you are not yourself, how is that I can rely on you, and how is that I can travel with you, and how is that I can throw on you, I can walk on your streets? No, not possible, not possible, because you have come to life right now. You have come to life right now, and you are one among the humanity. One among the humanity, and you should not play the mechanism of languaging. And here I say this has not been the reality, which even you would not have thought about it. The hardest of the hardest truth is that even you would not have thought about it, that this is the characteristic quality that you had imbibed by way of traveling ages, and the virality had pushed the virality had pushed you to the corner where you don't have an awareness of your own self, and you claim that you're all aware of. You claim that you are all aware of the fact that you are not aware of yourself, and you claim that you are aware of. And this is something which a fraternity who does deal with language and literature cannot tolerate, cannot accept your languaging. And for the first time, I say, I don't like you language, because you are not a language in itself. You do not know who you are, what you are doing, what is the purpose behind you are come into existence today. So I have my reservations. I have reservations, ladies and gentlemen. I have my own reservations when I come up with the hardest statement, and I say, I do not like you, in spite of the fact that with this language, I right now speak with you all guys with this language. And in spite of the fact that it is helping me domestically, it is giving me, it is a life force to me, but I cannot go blindly and with a masked statement that because you are giving life, you are being with me, and your association with me, or it is helping me, helping me and guiding me on very many aspects and perspectives. I cannot close my eyes and be lame and accept that I can rely on, and I can prod on. So for all these reasons, I say, for the first time as a human experience, I would say, I feel and I say, English language, you are no more a language, you are languaging. Next slide, gentlemen. Next slide. The pandemic, language and pandemic. And I go with the ideology. You cannot keep away Nietzsche. Ferdinand Saussure. I'm here connecting my ideology with the Ferdinand Saussure statement, where he calls on time changes all things. Time changes all things, and I think he's supporting the virality. Time changes all things, and there is no reason why language should escape this universal law. So Saussure agrees and accepts, and he wishes, and he comes out with a proclamation, a statement that this is the reality. You take any shape, you take any form, you take any color, and you can destroy any creed. If I don't think even Ferdinand Saussure would have thought about this destructive part, but he would have thought about how you keep on multiplying yourself, and will be deliberating on and being resourceful to the whole of the humanity that is in existence. So the truth is here is languaging in the era of pandemic, in the era of epidemic, in the era of COVID-19. So the virus existence has become the truth. Now it claims that it has got life, and gives space for the virus to live. Okay, fine. The power of the language, we had never ever challenged. We had never ever challenged. And as I said, the languaging, when languaging has become the hardest of the hardest truth, when you claim your rights to live in society, when you claim language means many to many. Now I do have a question. I do have a question, and the question is, I'm not the questioning the intelligentsia. I'm not questioning the way you are resourceful. I'm not questioning the cognitive capabilities of you. So no, nothing. As far as the other aspect of how the academicians are experiencing. No, I'm not questioning all these abilities. And you had creeped into every nerve. You had creeped into every individual, and you had been into. I would tell you, you had been into the vein of each and every individual when they address the word corona. Whether he or she is learned, whether he or she is unlearned, whether he or she belongs to any creed or caste or religion, you have been into, and you have become part of their life. I'm not challenging on all those principles and guidelines, which you had worked out as an approach, on how to live in the pandemic era. But here also, I wish to give a distinctive perspective. That the perspective is, you also at the same time, you carry the characteristic quality of being manipulative. So you have the characteristic quality of being manipulative, and you can there are a number of beautiful claims that today. The claims are, the local had become global, and the global had become local purely because of your intervention. And you had never ever left even a single space in the globe, had not been invaded by you virus. When I say virus, keep in mind, I'm talking about languaging as well. You have been in the nerve of every individual. You have been in the nerve of every sector of society. You have been in the nerve of every layman, whether he is learned or unlearned, irrespective of the caste, the creed or community, you are invaded, and and you claim that no, it is for bettering. Your invasion is for betterment, like how the Britishers thought about when they had invaded and looted all the beautiful resources of from the Indian soil. Might be. Right. Okay. So these are all the practicalities or the hardest of the hardest reality. You have been giving us as a form of an experience. But the other thought process of the pandemic quality, you had again proved worst by way of this unreliability. You started mutating. You yourself never knew what you become the next. And many of the scientists, many of the humanistics study, psychologists, people from commerce, people from industry, people from trade, and is there anyone you had left not invaded? All had become the troubled soul purely for the fact that no, you carry a characteristic quality of manipulation. You were not true or you were not untrue, whatever. And your very approach, your very approach is not stable. Your very approach is not stable, and you are not reliable enough. Your approach is not stable, and you are not reliable enough. You give multiple perspectives of thought process. You of the context. You claim the reality, and you say you are coming out multiple perspectives. And for the first time, no human evolution had isolated one individual from the other, and you had made it feel happy about it, like you had isolated humanities, you had quarantined, and the worst is you had self quarantined, and you are taking the virality to mutating on different possibilities, and you started infecting on each and every individual soul living in society, and nothing called centric that has been revolving around, in spite of the fact that no, there are the qualities of uniqueness you carry. There is one fact, one accepted reality that no, we cannot keep away with, is that the devastating effect that no, you are proving on to the humanity at large. And for all these reasons, my friends and the colleagues who are here witnessing my the new man's experience, I think to some extent you would come glow with me. You would come glow with me and substantiate what are all the arguments. That I throw open to you all right now. So rather than coexisting, rather than taking the route of collaborating, you see to that you isolate, and you self quarantine. You make the entire context pandemic, and so many names you come out with. You make it epidemic as well. So with so many names, you have taken shape, you have taken size, and the varieties approaches and the modalities by which you travel are all for sure it is not wise making, and for sure it is not the wise thought by which you are into. And for all these means and for all these measures, for the first time, I tell you that I do not like you language, because you are languaging. Next slide. Next slide.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Language is virus, and I go with the author's statement of Francis Young, and his associates, had come out with thought process of, language and language in isolation. The isolation awareness. And here I would like to bring in the thought process of, the experience of the academicians. No, I would directly correlate this experience to the academicians, and I think, where you all would agree. And for the personalities, who are from the traditional school of thought, even I would say, like, even till now, for the 4 or 5 months, I think, what the experience which I'm going to narrate will be the experience. Like, for the first time, again, for the first time, the way by which, our traditional classroom setting, our classroom design, and the way by which, we were dealing with language and literature in a 4-wall setting. I tell you that even in the war like period, there was a huge ideology in the practitioners of the war statement, that even during the war, they saw to that hospitals and the schools not being touched upon. But you see, in the context of virality, the learning experience of, the 4-wall experience, the learning experience of the 4-wall experience, where we had come out with an experience of something called collaborative experience of understanding, with reference to any resource we encounter with. A collaborative experience of bringing into a notion of understanding the text, the cooperative way by which we come together. And there are n number of group dynamism from the management principles we know we are roped into the reality of the classroom, and made the experience of understanding the text in a very many possible ways. Life, the class has life. The 4 walls had life. And all the humanistic perspectives, all the cognitive perspectives, and all the community perspectives, all the collaborative perspectives are being marked. For the first time in the history, you had challenged. Even the war-like the context had not challenged the hospitals, had not challenged the school atmosphere. But you, virus, for the first time in the history of the teaching and learning, even in the war-like context, where is that the common people would find a solace? They go to the schools and place themselves into the 4 walls, so that they will not be bombarded. So it was the place of something, you carry some sort of an experience of sanctity. But you, virus, you had challenged, you had havoc with the what to say, travel, industry, commerce, and whatnot. Okay, fine. But for the first time, when the academicians are being challenged, a beautiful experience of something which we all have come together in experiencing something, it has been given as a challenge, had been again taken away. This one of one experience that we were experiencing in the classroom, a beautiful experience, a lived experience, and now we are into a machine-like experience. And where are we? So no, we don't want to become machines. We were half machines. We know literally we are half machines. Our reliability on the technology, our reliability on the computers. Then I don't have anything to say. When you had the shared half, when we are half binary, but now your aspiration, your wishes are something huge. No, you want to put aside the human intelligence, and you say machine intelligence are going to be the working possibilities. and you claim that no, this is gonna be the futuristic thought, and it is challenging the academician. It is challenging the academician for the first time, and for the first time, when you are challenging the academician, now I tell you, friends, that no, we have to have a balanced perspective. We have to have a balanced thought process where we have to see to that, and we have to limit and we have to delimit the varied the possibilities, the versatility of the way by which it is traveling and engulfing all the humanity, and we the academicians, it is not in the hands of the others. We the academicians hold a lot responsibilities and say to that where to limit. And I tell you, here also by the intervention of technology, it is we the academicians are given freedom, and now it has come into our system, and it is claiming its all of its rights. So for the first time, when you wanted to dehumanize and question the intelligentsia, question the cognition, question the experience, the emotional, the humanitarian understanding that have been the richest resource for all the academician, then time has come. Now we have to take up a thought process, an intelligentsia, that and see to that we should not let this machine taking its upper root and challenge and making us a slave. And as I say, it is not that a slave trade right now, the way by which it is going on. I'm telling you, friends, it is going to corner us, and it is going to be a big threat, and put us in a tight corner, like as E.V. Lucas had stated. And once we become tight cornered, then I think our very whereabouts will be a big challenge. Next slide, gentlemen. The word God word replaced by the word corona. You know, in the human experience and in the human evolution, where our human evolution started with the word God. The word God is the extreme. The word God cannot be replaced by the other word. It is a word that has brought human existence to life. And for the first time, the word God is dead. And I go with the statement of again Nietzsche for this matter. Next slide. But then the word God word, or the word Corona, has been the talk of the town today. Much for the first time, it has come to the live dictionary, and it has been the word much referred in the pandemic time. This word has become the beautiful word, and this word has become the very interesting word. For want of time, I'm little pushing off, and it has become the beautiful word. It has become the very interesting word. And for the first time, it has come into the dictionary meaning making, and where larger. I happen to read through the statistics of the humanities refer to this particular word corona, the quarantine word. Huge in this pandemic time. The reference to this particular word and its association with the word corona to the other association have been so huge and large. It has been addressed by different people differently. It has been experienced by different calamity, by different context, by different age groups, and it has not touched upon left upon any walk of life. All the roots of the lives of living of the humanity has been investigated. It has been retrospected on by this word corona. I tell you, no, you like it. You like it or you don't like it. You have to come out with the utterance. No, you are coming out with the utterance without knowing its implications on. So that is the way by which this particular word had been rooted into the each and every individual. And for the first time in the history, a word has become the celebrity word. It has become the celebrity word, and it has become the so much a crowned word, I would say. The word that has been so much so associated with the word corona, the COVID-19, the novel corona, the epidemic, the pandemic, and it goes. If you trace for 3 months of the experience, we had been associated with this virus. So many vocabularies have come into a prominence, and it has become the promenade, an experience of the promenade experience. Ladies and gentlemen, this word has been the crowned word of the humanity. And at the same time, this crowned word is the doomed word of the human. This word has been the crowned word used by all sectors of the society, all sectors of society, irrespective of the caste claim, the caste creed, religion, whatever, the nerd, every individual, every sector of society is there. You like it, you don't like it, but then you uttered. I don't say you uttered this word, and its association you see, and its association you see. The word and its association. So many parallel stands it takes. And many scientists, many humanitarians, many psychologists, many historians, many economists, and from many industry, from all walks of life, they try to investigate on the beauty of this vocabulary that has come into existence today. All had worked on, all had negotiated on, all had negated on the possibility of bringing definition to the word corona, but not possible. Not possible. The varied collocation and the very connotation that you take from the word, and the versatility or the meaning that you had got into the context. I think the epidemic, the most celestial word, the most crowned word, and I would say you are the most doomed word that by way of the languaging you are bringing an experience to the humanity. And I tell you, the crowned word, the doomed word, both the experience, and I say you for giving this experience to the language fraternity, for the literarians, and for the linguists. I would say for the first time, you are not a language anymore. You are languaging, and which is the hardest of the hardest reality, which you yourself is not aware of. Next slide. No human evolution. We had not given away the word God. The word God is the truth. And for many, the word is the God word. That ends everything. Just imagine. If we take this word God and replace with another word, I think a larger community of humanity, and their space will be not a church or temple or mosque. Their larger space will be their larger space will be asylum, a madhouse. No, you had been the madhouse. And that is the way by which, we had systematized the word God. The word God, it has become the habitat of every individual persona who live in any society for the matter. And for the first time, the word God is being replaced by the word Corona. I go substantiating the argument with Nietzsche, where when he said, the death of the God. And by the death of the God, all the humanities had liberated. He says, by the death of the word God, all the humanities had liberated. And imagine, for evolution, we were prodding as an experience, and we are living a blood-like experience with this world. And once we keep away this word, and what is the word replaced with the word God is the word Corona. And that way, it is the experience right now. The godly word has become the Corona word right now. And I tell you, this word had stopped people going to church, going to temple, going to mosque, going to mosque. See the perception. And when someone like Nietzsche, a German philosopher, and when he comes out with the statement, the word God is dead, and replaced by the other word. Now I would say this is the first time the word God has been replaced by the word Corona. No other human evolution had ever thought about replacing the word God. And for the first time, friends, for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, the word God has been replaced by the word Corona. And such is the experience this Corona is giving us to us. It stopped people going to church. It isolated. No social gathering. Social distancing has become a greater phenomena. And it has become a greater phenomenology. A greater philosophical note in the context of our living. And we cannot take it very light, particularly when Nietzsche, a great German philosopher, when he says the word God is dead, it holds a lot of significance. It holds a lot of relevance when it is being thrown open by Nietzsche. And I have one more observation to make here, friends. The observation is, if Nietzsche happened to come to life, he would call on the God to reincarnate, come to life again, because this virus is doing so much of a havoc. So he would wish God to reincarnate and hold its position of the godly stature of the way by which this particular vocabulary it is taking its prominence and promenade. I would say promenade because of the versatility of this the word, and how it has got into the roots, how it has got into the vein of each and every individual. When I say the word Corona, the experience which I had experience of the word God is the experience which I am experiencing right now with the word Corona. Yes, and similar would have been the experience of every gentleman who are into a context of present day living context. Next slide. Now I go to the research. The Michigan University, they wanted to investigate on what, how people behave, and use pandemic context in coming out with the language use. there are two parallels, they had taken at the beginning of the pandemic context. What were the language capacities they were using it, and during the pandemic context, when the worst was the experience, they were experiencing, and they had on their investigation, they have understood that the language used and when it has been established, worked out with the in the form of audio diaries in the socio-linguistic laboratory, the findings are very shocking and revealing, and the findings are revelation that in their language use, that there happens to be lot of artificiality. There happens to be lot of artificiality. Like, either you take the blogging or the very many the internet possibilities that you take it, then you wanted to share your language capacities in any form or in any nature. They said that the experience happens to be artificial. There is no originality of the language being the use, and the expressive element of the language capacity has been marginally been slowed down by the intervention of this virus. And the Michigan University researched on, and the investigation outcome states that the artificiality of the life, the artificiality of the language we use by the masking, when we do masking, we know for sure that half of our language capacity building, half of our the language use, the expressive element, the body language, the facial expressions that we bring into context by way of establishing language in the fullest sense possibilities by masking. I think we will be untrue to our own self, in coming out with the language statement, and that happens to be the proven understanding of the Michigan universities when they worked out with the audio diaries in the socio-linguistic laboratory, and the finding happens to be a very revelation, very revealing, that we have already almost become artificial in the language thought process, in the application of the language is concerned. Next one, ladies and gentlemen, next one, please. The biological anthropologist understanding. I'm bringing in understanding of the biological anthropologist, how human influence and adopt to the changing environmental, adopting oneself to the environmental conditions and on the language capacities. You come out with biological anthropologists, and there is a beautiful statement comes in. And when I searched on, when I wanted to take a statistical record of what happens in the context of a pandemic context, and how the biological function are related to the pandemic context. I had come out with the one hardest truth, hardest understanding, like more than the other sex. It's the women's sex, in the domestics, they had taken the highest clue here, the pandemic context, where I would like to bring in a narration of the experience of one who had come out with a statement like the pandemic experience. I got my dumbbells, and I go on doing lot of online exercises, having the app. There are n number of apps had come into context, and by using the app applications, the number of exercises you promote by burning calories, so many vocabularies are coming. The pandemic context and the anatomy of the vocabularies that is associated to And the health industry has been booming so much, and the impact of the health industry by way of the applications of the so many apps. They say when I do the exercise to my arms, and when I do the exercise to my my calf muscles, and part by part, the exercise is a beautiful experience. I experience and when I could see that has been reflected by the changes that has brought into my physique. A beautiful claim, a beautiful claim. The online exercises, the new vocabularies of the biological intervention with the applications of the app. The majority of the population here are women go the domestic, not gents. This I worked out, as far as the statistical reports are concerned. The I would say the app culture and the ape culture. The app culture has become the ape culture, and in domestic, and it's proving very violent, very vigorous in the domesticality is concerned. Some of the language items, very minimal. Huge language items, very minimal. Try exercises class online, dance to music, and do the workouts. Play active videos. There are n number of apps. Active videos. You have the active videos, and you enact according to the video representations. Try some of the gimmicks, like the skipping ropes, and muscular strength and balancing, and the beauty of the shape and size you bring in of the mechanical way by which you are being involved into. So the app culture had led to ape culture, where might be one of the reason might be because of the materialistic society we in the domesticalities we live in. Everything has been done by machine. Even right now, I don't think half of the women would right now cook. Just a call, just by a small application, the food comes to your doorstep, and everything happens in a very fast way. A natural work, it does not permit you to go into the natural way by which you burn your calories. But then this is again a new culture that had come into the humanistic society at large. If I go, I can speak on a beautiful narration on this, the app culture and the ape culture. Next slide. All the ceremonials had become part of our culture. All the ceremonial habits had become part of our culture. Next slide, please, sir. Next slide. Ashley Montague, the ideology of Ashley Montague, the anatomy of swearing, I state the word from Ashley Montague. The early forms of language could have emerged from a desire to express oneself forcefully. When you wanted to express oneself forcefully. Gentlemen, next slide, please. Next slide. When you wanted to express yourself forcefully. The pandemic, the corona word has become the magical word. I would say this word has become the magical reality, magical realism word, where I had the experience of reading in the newspaper in Coimbatore, the ideal of Corona Devi being established, and prayers and mantras. And second observation I would like to make it here is go Corona go, Indian context. The swearing in, go Corona go. And the third is Indians, lighted millions of candles, a sign of solidarity against the corona. So the first time, all mantras, all tantras, all the tantric pursuits, are roped into something called a spiritualistic understanding. When you have a huge cry and you wanted to empower, overpower, and overuse it all, you swam and you swam, and here is the type of swearing in ceremonies had happened, and the experience of corona had given a magical realistic word. Corona has become the magical realistic word, and you see the idol worship and so many idol worship and co-corona co-banging, co-corona go and lighting. Now, how far we are yet superficial enough. Now we have to be the mantras, the tantras, and the tantric pursuits into the magical realistic world that we are promoting right now. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. The politics. I don't want to go much into the understanding of language and its the George Orwell's understand the politics and the languages. I'm not going much detail into it, but then a little observation I would like to. When the pandemic experience, I would go with the political thought, the ideology of George Orwell. Like the word meaning changes with the person in contact, with the person in climate, with the person in content, and the person in the person how he or she experiences a particular word. So we all knew huge areas. If we wanted to throw down the politics of the language use and as a political framework, as a political thought, as a political ideology, I would say all political minds are to some extent, or to a larger extent, I would say cunning, dominating, and will be purely egoistic. And I would like to associate the political ideologies with the priest ideologies. And the worry is even now they are the selling force. The politicians and the priests are the selling force and the hope of larger humanity. And it is taking its momentum again. The hardest of the hardest reality is that even the virality of the context, the pandemic quality of the context, the epidemic of the experience had not given away politicizing of the context. So the politics of language, the politics of the thought, the politics of the persona involved, and the characteristics of the persona involved in doing the politics. So it is going to be a very huge, and yet the hardest of the realities is that we still now do exist with the political framework of the thought, and we have never ever thought about it, thought about leaving the priests as well. We are awaiting for the lockdown to release. The once lockdown is released, then you would see the first day, the first thing we all will do is that we will go back to the priests. We will go to churches. We'll go to temples. We'll go to the mosque, large number, without having the awareness that the virus had not left the society. Without having the awareness that the virus had not left the society. You all will throng. I know for sure that you are all waiting. You are all awaiting for just lockdown to get over. But I'm very sure you don't have the awareness that the virus has come into context. It is claiming its existence with the human, and we have to live, and we have sometimes, we have to love the virus and go ahead with, and we do not know what shape, what size, and how it's going to mutate next. We are talking about third wave, fourth wave, all these post-corona context as well. But we will be having the politicized thought, a very narrowistic thought, and we will go back to the church, we'll go back to the temple, we'll go back to the mosques, form huge crowd, and we will see to that whether even if corona do not want it to, even if the virus do not want it to intervene, we will follow certain rituals, certain traditions that we know for sure that is very, very hard to put into practice of a pandemic context. We are all awaiting. We are all awaiting. Even if it's not mutating, we will give all possible ways and measures by which, we will help the virus mutate. We are awaiting. We will help the virus. Next slide. Next slide. Now, a few of the experience of the professional English courses coming to the academics. I don't want to go in detail, even during the pandemic context, how the academics wanted to have an intervention. So many varieties of English language are coming in. Now, professional English course 1, 2 had been introduced into the all Tamil Nadu by the Tansky government, and a third and fourth book, we are gonna establish. You all might be aware of. Now, the big question is whether to. We had already given space for the other discipline members to take up the English language. So there are a number of perception, the n number of theories undergoing regarding the professional English during the pandemic context, and if I again wanted to give a thought process to this aspect of the professional English, like where from English for specific learning to English for special learning, and where now the impossibilities of integrating possibilities have become the reality. The impossibilities of integrating English with the other import possibilities has become the reality, and that is going to be the pandemic experience. And for all these reasons, I would like to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, and before going in for the concluding remarks. Why corona? Why corona? Why language? Why corona? Why language? Both of you had come together. Both of you had come together. And you possess each other. You possess each other. And do all the havoc possible. Do all the infection possible. You had shown your attitude. You had shown your attitude. Now, I try to understand members, or else you will be misunderstood. Like I'm here connotating the experience of what the objective stand had stated in the beginning. The coming together, the virus, the coming together of the languaging, and the coming together the humanity as well, right? And challenging humanity. You proved infectious. You proved infectious. You have shown your attitude. You are not stable, not relied upon. You are different to different people. You had quarantine and self-quarantine. You proved pandemic and epidemic, and you had creeped into the every livelihood of the individual. Yet by all these experience, humanity at large do not know or do not know you, who you are, what you are, and what is the purpose behind your existence into the society. What is the purpose of your existence today? and what changes you wanted to bring in, what changes that you wanted to bring in spite the respect of all. And ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, I wish right now to take back my word of the first claim that I do not like you English language because your language. And here I end up, and I wish to rework on the principles which I had promoted at the initial phase. And for the first time, your language, by way of languaging, had given us a beautiful experience of experiencing something called so wild and wilderness. Today, I could share so much of a beautiful experience, if you had not proved calamity, if you had not proved so much so viral, and if you had not proved so much so infectious, this a beautiful narration of so much of an ideological thought I had brought in would not have been possible at all. And for the first time, I would say, I don't like you. Rather, I would say, I love you. I love you, language, for all the languaging experience that you had given, taking the virality in your hand, and you had literally beautified by the different perception, by the different versatility of the note, the voluminous of the resource that you had come out with, giving us the beautiful experience. And for the first time, I tell you, I love you, language, purely for the fact that you are languaging. And I do not forget, and I don't want to forget again the thought process of something called the post-pandemic, which is the truth about the futuristic aspect of the ideology, which is going to be I know for sure, this is not an end in itself. We know statements are flowing. Many members of the humanity, they say, second wave is over, third is coming, and fourth is coming. I do not know what shape, what size, and what narrative you're gonna come out with in the post-pandemic context, and which is the hardest of the futuristic reality that we are gonna experience. Ladies and gentlemen, I love this languaging, and I am waiting. I am awaiting. I know for sure, by the way you are at present, you are not gonna leave society. No scientist could, no humanitarian could, no mantras and tantras could. Nothing. Your existence for sure is established. Your power is established. You had questioned the existence of the humanity by throwing your powers, by proving your powers, by proving the varied shape and size you take. I'm very sure, by the way you are right now, any moment of stress, any moment of a small climate change, any moment of a small physical change, any moment of the change by which you use a language, have to be so much so gajful. We have to be so much so gajful when we use language as a languaging. Any time I am well aware of the fact that we gonna receive another fourth shock, fifth shock, sixth shock, and many shocks. And we academicians, we have to wait and watch, and we are awaiting, and we are awaiting. And I end up saying that we love you, language. We all love you. On behalf of all the faculty members, I would say we all give a call for, and we all will love this language, of the fact that it is going to be challenging, and we are awaiting for more challenges too. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. Nagaraj, sir, thank you so much. It's really a captivating session, sir. And thank you for just provoking thoughts through languaging, sir. Thank you, sir. Participants, you can post your questions in the chat box if any. I like to invite Dr. K. Kavita for a formal vote of thanks.
Yeah, before
Yes.
going, yeah, Professor Muthukrishnan, this is Muthukrishnan.
Hello,
Yeah.
sir.
Hello.
Muthukrishnan, sir.
Yes.
Yes, Professor.
Professor, yes, I'm indeed so happy, rather in the 7th heaven, in listening to your words. And of course, you have modified the languaging process itself. Now, you have changed the languaging process due to the coronavirus, from different aspects in the politics.
Professor, your audio is down. I think,
Sir,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Sir's connection is a little poor.
sir.
Dr. Muthukrishnan, sir, can you hear us? Ma'am, sir's connection is got reconnecting. Sir has left the meeting. Okay, ma'am. Shall we continue? Once sir joins, I'll intimate, ma'am.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, sir. Dr. K. Kavita.
Thank you, sir. Now I'm here to express my gratitude and thankfulness. You too started the session by thanking Dr. T. Muthukrishnan. It was really nice. And even while winding up the session, Sir has come forward to speak a few words and express his love and thankfulness to you. It was really nice to see this, sir. And now I'm here to express my thanks. First of all, I would like to thank God Almighty to make this session a wonderful one. He has used you as a tool today, and it was really an awesome,
Sorry, ma'am.
energetic, vibrant session, sir.
Dr. Kavita, ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Muthukrishnan sir has joined us. Sir,
Okay.
can you unmute yourself, sir?
Shall I wait then?
I'm sorry. I'm extremely sorry that I have disturbed you. There's a sense.
No problem, sir. No problem.
Yeah. There is a problem with my link. Anyhow, just I have unmuted my mic because of the reason that I want to.
Sir, you're audible, sir.
I want to. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Professor.
You're audible, sir. You can continue.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. In total, I have been mesmerized by your performance. Rather, it's not exaggeration or colored expression. Rather, I have got my own understanding over the process called languaging, and even I have delivered a lecture on it. But your perspective is totally different. Rather, your languaging process, to understand the concept of languaging process is something unique. And of course, I have never expected such a thing. And being a linguist, I have observed certain languaging process during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, your approach, your languaging process is totally different, and you opened a new vista for the English literature researchers. A really real contribution to the success of this seminar, and sincerely appreciate you as a senior linguist. I appreciate you that languaging process could also be looked at in totally a different fashion. Usually in our linguistics domain, we will adapt certain other strategies to look at the languaging process. You have touched upon the politics, you have touched upon the social changes because of the languaging process. And the whole, from birth to this occasion, we have been adapting certain language processing, but that is totally changed by the impact of COVID-19. So that you have recorded what type of languaging process taking in different domains. I sincerely appreciate before the the organizers are going to propose a vote of thanks. It is my bound duty to express my sincere and heartfelt thanks to you that you have justified your presence by presenting a wonderful narrative. Thank you very much.
Before going in for the vote of thanks, as I said, I all had grown listening to Professor Muthukrishnan sir. And as I said earlier, whenever he had given a session, any talk, I had a habitual action of keeping a pen and paper and take notes of his session.
Professor, that's all. Leave it. You can come to the business session.
And even I cannot keep away my mind here. The last lecture he had delivered in the department of both in the Department of English and Linguistics. I cannot. So it has gone into my system like that. In fact, no, I was chasing Professor Muthukrishnan sir to give what all he had penned down in the form of note making and note taking. So such is the scholarly persona when he had invited, saying that no, I wanted you to give your talk. I am literally elated when he said, no, you have to represent in a seminar or in a conference of this particular nature. So I'm really honored and I'm really humbled, and I respect the intelligentsia you possess, and I wish that we will be collaborating a lot in the coming days as well. And I thank wholeheartedly my friend Professor Muthukrishnan sir for this lovely opportunity where you have given me space for a few reading as well.
No, you deserve, sir. Yeah. Thank you. No, thank you very much. Thank you. You could thank the organizers also.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. K. Kavita?
Shall we continue, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible? Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can carry on.
Yes, madam. Yes.
Now I'm here to present a formal vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude and thankfulness to God Almighty for using Dr. P. Nagaraj as a tool to express his views and ideas. It was indeed a different perspective, sir, as Sir said. It was really an honest attack on language for being dishonest, for being unreliable, for killing rich culture, and for languaging. But finally, you ended with a positive note that expressing your love for language. So you also talked about the quality of language, like the quality of not knowing and its quality of unknowing. It was really a different perspective, sir. Thank you for it. Then I would like to thank management, our secretary and correspondent, then principal, convener of this program, and the head of our department. Then I would also like to thank the organizing secretary, Dr. S. Bhuvaneshwari. And then I would like to express my thankfulness to the organizing committee and all the participants and also the admin. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. Participants, I request you to join the afternoon session at 2:45.
Okay, ma'am.
Nagaraj sir, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the organizing members, who hold responsible in organizing such a wonderful web seminars. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.